All right, Ethan. Week 2 of NFL football is in the books. And for me, I feel like there were a lot of upsets, and we'll get into all of them. But what were some of the big storylines that you're taking away from week 2?
Some big storylines that I'm taking away from week 2 is that you guys need to like and subscribe and comment on this video because we're trying to grow this channel as big as possible, and we're really close to 200 subscribers. So if you could hit the link below and hit the little bell, subscribe for us, I really appreciate it. But as far as the NFL season, my biggest reaction is my first overreaction is Bryce Young's time with the Carolina Panthers is over.
Yeah,
After a season and about 2 games, I think it's time with him being announced as being benched. His coach's comments too, when they asked about him and the owner's relationship with Bryce Young, not necessarily personally, but as far as like how they felt about Bryce Young going into the season, there seems to be like a disconnect between the two, the owner and the coach. Canales, right? Brian Canales.
Yeah, David
and
Canales.
He doesn't seem David Canales, and he doesn't seem the biggest fan of Bryce Young. And now that with him getting benched for Andy Dalton, it seems like this season is chalked up. The Panthers are definitely going to be the number 1 overall conversations again.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the part of the show where I want to defend Bryce Young a little bit and just say, like, he was not put in any position to succeed. Carolina is a shit show right now. They didn't have any players around him last year. This year, it's just been a mess from the very beginning, from training camp, where they weren't getting any snaps, even though they knew how much he struggled last year. Yeah, it's just tough. It's a really difficult situation, man, because another situation that I think of is Josh Rosen for the Cardinals, when it's just like you got a new coach. He comes in, has kind of an idea of what he wants the offense to look like. And Bryce Young might not be that guy. He might not have been that guy the minute Dave Canales stepped in that door. So it's just kind of unfortunate. I think Bryce Young will get more opportunities. I don't know if they'll come with the Panthers. That's something I wanted to ask you is, do you think there's a way that Bryce Young starts another game for the Panthers this year?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the Panthers, in my mind, right? I think the Panthers are rationalizing this as kind of like a reset, like an early season reset. Like, okay, 2 games into the season, we're very stinky and Bryce isn't paying the best. So let's give Bryce like a 2-week break because he's taking a lot of shots. Let him evaluate himself because, like they said, he needs to clean up a lot of his footwork, a lot of his mechanics that he really should have improved on from year 1 to year 2. And I think that's what they're kind of hoping for is like, all right, let's give him like a couple weeks rest with Andy Dalton, a veteran journeyman quarterback now. Let him take a bunch of the shots because the O-line is trash. And hopefully we'll revisit this in week 5, week 6, and see if he's kind of like not down to earth, but he's kind of like centered himself. I think that's their chance. I do think he's going to start more games than not for the rest of this year, though.
Yeah, see, I mean, I think I'm kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum where, like, I think Bryce Young will get more opportunities, just not with the Panthers. Because for me, it's just like, this is the knife that, like, basically it's the dagger for Bryce's career in Carolina. Like, just taking him out 2 weeks into the season. I mean, you're already kind of like cutting your losses, kind of chopping it up to being like, hey, we're going to be bad this year. We're looking forward to the draft. To me, if I were the Panthers, I'd be looking at trying to trade Bryce Young because I know it's early, but by sitting him and taking him out after 2 weeks in his second season, you're already basically giving up on him. So why not get something in exchange for him, especially with some teams that are having some quarterback problems right now? Miami Dolphins. We'll talk about them in a minute. But yeah, man, I just don't see I don't see Bryce Young playing for the Panthers again unless it comes down to an Andy Dalton injury and they just need a body back there. But seeing any more substantial starts for Bryce Young in a Panthers uniform seems unlikely to me.
Yeah. I guess we gotta wait and see though. But for them to ditch him this early, ooh, the Panthers are in a deep shit.
Yeah. Hey, well, I want to give you a shout out because I was down on my team last week thinking that they weren't going to win, but you called me out and said that the Packers were going to win in week 2, and you called it, man. Got a very impressive win over the Indianapolis Colts in week 2, and that's my reaction for this team, is to counter your week 1 overreaction about the Packers, of how you said they're not legit, they're not real. I think this proved to me that, I don't know if this is my overreaction, because I feel like this should be just common ideal, or I feel like a lot of people should have this. I think Matt LaFleur is a top 5 head coach in the NFL, and he's been disrespected for far too long. Hasn't gotten any coaching of the year award votes or anything, despite having winning seasons, taking the Packers to the NFC Championship game, going through all the quarterback drama and controversy. And then when you talk about this week, going against the Indianapolis Colts, who are a very good team, without your starting quarterback, Malik Willis, who had been there for 3 weeks, trying to get him caught up, situated with the offense, and they go out there and run for 300 yards in the first half. It was beautiful, man. I love the game plan, and I think the Packers, with Matt LaFleur, have established themselves, especially when Jordan Love comes back, as a real contender in the NFC.
Honestly, I thought the Packers did really good taking advantage of this poor Colts team. The Colts can't defend the run whatsoever. And like I said, I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. What did I tell you in our prediction video last week? Y'all going to take the ball out of Malik Willis' hand and run the ball with Josh Jacobs. And that's exactly what y'all did. Still not really sold on y'all as a team. I guess I got to wait and see how y'all look when Jordan Love comes back in 2-3 weeks. But like I said, it's a good win for y'all.
Hey, they said he practiced. They said he practiced today. He might play against the Titans this week.
In my opinion, that's a team that you can beat again with.
I agree. We'll get into the predictions for that game in a little bit, but it is interesting to see that Jordan is already practicing. Just a little note. But E, is there another game that you want to talk about? Maybe about your former team, your former favorite team.
Because I feel like I don't want to do that right now, but I guess we can go into it. It's just
actually, before we talk about the Cowboys, though, can we answer this question? Are the Saints legit?
I'm very close with the Saints to saying yes, that they might be legit. Like, I think they need another wide receiver option. I know Olave is supposed to come back soon. But the way that Kubiak, the offensive coordinator, is kind of not necessarily taking the ball out of Derek Carr's hands, but making easy decisions for Derek Carr. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Like, look how good that team tore up this Dallas defense that we gassed last week for beating a bad Deshaun Watson Cleveland. And I know we're going to have a conversation of, does this win mean more to the does this win say more about how bad Dallas is, or how good the Saints is? And I really think it has to do with how good the Saints is. Not to shoot the Cowboys some bail, but first year under a new defensive coordinator. Last week, yeah, they had a test in the Browns because it's the first game of the season, but Deshaun Watson is barely a starting quarterback in the NFL at the moment. The Saints are legit. The Saints are the bar as far as an offense that Cowboys want to beat. That Shanahan offense is what the Cowboys have been trying to beat for 4 years, and that was the first test for Mike Zimmerman and that defense, and they failed miserably. And I think a lot of it, not to get too deep into the X's and O's of the Cowboys defense, because this show is not the Dallas Cowboys that we're recording, but no. I feel like a lot of it had to do with player effort more than anything than X's and O's, especially for Mike Zimmerman. And that's something that the Cowboys desperately need to figure out. And it's something I've been the impression I've got from that team and that side of the ball is I think the defense is too arrogant for the Cowboys. I really, really think it is.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of talent, and I think that could kind of be part of the reason why they kind of play with that arrogance, just because you have Micah, you have Trayvon, you got DeMarcus Lawrence. So I kind of get where you're coming from in that sense. I'm not really worried about the
Let me
Cowboys. This is a
keep this.
Cowboys
Let me
loss.
give. Let me give you this, right. Let me give you this. The Dallas. If I would have told you the Dallas Cowboys offense would have scored the first 5 positions of the game, you would have told me the Cowboys won, right?
Yeah, probably.
The Cowboys scored in the first 5 positions of the game, and they were down by 19. The issue wasn't Dak Prescott in the offense. Don't get me wrong. There is issues with that offense. The fact that without anyone other than CeeDee Lamb on that offense absolutely stinks as far as skill players. Absolutely stinks. And they desperately need Jake Ferguson back to give them some help so that you can't triple team CeeDee Lamb. Because Jalen Brooks, not good enough. Jalen Tolbert, not good enough. Rico Dowdle, not good enough. Zeke, not good enough. And you're really just giving Dak nothing to work with. Not to even shoot bail for him, but he has a very, very good receiver in CeeDee Lamb, but that is it. That's not going to make the offense reach Super Bowl or NFC Championship aspirations. And with this defense constantly getting punched in the mouth by these Shanahan offenses, like at this point, until they show me something differently and show the American people, NFL fans, something differently, I don't think people's opinion of the Cowboys are going to change, especially on the defensive side.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right on the head, man. The problems are still the same with the Cowboys. There was a loss that, I mean, we kind of come to expect from the Cowboys at this point in the season. But I still think overall they're a good team. They're going to be in it for the NFC East and NFC playoff
East,
spot.
Yeah,
but the other NFC playoff spot in the NFC South, hey, it's looking like the Saints, man. The Saints are a buzzsaw with Alvin Kamara scoring 4 touchdowns in Dallas on Sunday. I was just really surprised by that performance too, because I don't know if I would have been that like drastic last year, but I was a lot lower on Alvin Kamara. I wasn't going to say he's washed, but like I was getting to that point where I didn't think Alvin Kamara had much left in the tank. But damn, the way he's come out and run the ball these last 2 weeks, it gives me a lot of hope that the Saints can keep this pace on offense. And defensively, I think they're a lot better than they're given credit for. Tyrann Mathieu still at the safety position for that team, and he kind of just like makes the motor run for that team, in my opinion, on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm really interested to see how they continue.
The Saints, I'm very close to saying they're legit. Like I said, Derek Carr is still their quarterback. And I know about 6 months ago, the Saints fans were ready to hang him. But they look really good. They look really, really good. So what's your next overreaction?
Man, I think I'll just do this one a little broad so we can get to a couple more of the other games. But I think this is going to be a crazy season. And my overreaction is that half of the teams that were in the playoffs last year will not be in the playoffs this year. And I know that sounds a little crazy, but thinking about the way the season's headed for some of these teams and just, the results from this last week, not to say that these will hold out, but Bills beat the Dolphins. We'll talk about the Dolphins more with the Tua situation, but they're going to be in a rough position in the upcoming weeks without Tua. Vikings beat the 49ers in week 2, which Niners are obviously the heavy favorites. They did not get out of that game unscathed. Kittle and Debo were both hurt. Another interesting game for me was Raiders-Ravens.
This is a game I want to talk about, right? From the perspective of the Ravens. The Ravens, I think, are at a crossroads with what they want to be as a football team, especially on offense. Like, do you want to turn Lamar into this volume passer? Or do you want to use Derrick Henry and run the ball down people's throat? Use Lamar Jackson as an all-around playmaker. Because I feel like they're stuck on that. Ever since the Ravens got rid of Greg Roman, I feel like they're doing this thing where they're trying to prove a point with Lamar Jackson that, oh, he's good enough as a passer. He can beat you with his arm and only his arm. And it's like, yes, Lamar is a very good passer. But what makes him one of the best players in the NFL is his ability to run the ball. and the ways the Ravens can use them. And I know a lot of people, us included, gassed the Derrick Henry signing this offseason. He hasn't looked good with them. He hasn't. The offense hasn't looked good with them. Yeah, you look at the game with the Chiefs, it's like, okay, they got turned on. They turned themselves on a little too late and was like an inch away from winning that ball game. And then you look at this game against the Raiders. They were getting smoked throughout this entire game. And I don't think they can they need to make up their mind. Like, how do you want to run this? Because I feel like they're dead set on trying to prove a point with Lamar.
That's a really interesting point, because I didn't think about it like that, in the sense of like they didn't really pick an identity. I kind of, going into the season, thought that they were going to run the ball a lot, for not forgetting that Greg Roman was gone. I knew he was with the Chargers, which, by the way, their run game looks insane. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you. I thought that was going to be Baltimore's like bread and butter this offseason, or this entire season, was threatened with Lamar's feet and Derrick Henry down the defense's throat. 3 downs. I mean, that's efficient football, in my opinion. And
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good, bro. I was just gonna say, like, I see where you're coming from too, of like, or where the Ravens are coming from, of like, we want to get Lamar more passing opportunities, see him in a volume like setting, but this is not the time to be doing. I mean, I guess this is the time to be doing it and trying it out early in the season rather than late in the season. I think they still have time. That's the good thing, is it's only week 2. So they still have time to find that identity. And maybe they are going to wait until later in the season, because you forget that we get into December football. Derrick Henry will be the number 1 person that defenders have on their list of people I do not want to tackle.
No, I'm with you, but I feel like they're stuck in this mindset of, ever since they got rid of Greg Roman, and he kind of took a large amount of success for Lamar winning that first MVP. They're trying to prove at this point, like, yeah, Lamar is like, he is a great enough passer. We're going to get him all these wide receivers, which they have. They got him Rashad Bateman. They got him Zay Flowers. They got him Odell Beckham Jr. last year. He has one of the best tight ends in football, Mark Andrews. He has one of the better up-and-coming tight ends in Isaiah Likely. Like, what more offensively does he need?
Well,
and they need to stick with it. Either you're going to turn this offense to a volume passing offense and spray the ball around the field, or you're going to use Derrick Henry, use Lamar Jackson in his legs, and stretch the field that way. But you can't have both. And it's proven through these first 2 weeks, you can't have both. And I get it. Week 2, NFL overreactions. That might be what I'm doing. But the Baltimore Ravens can't have both. It's either you're going to use all these weapons on the outside, or you're going to use Derrick Henry and Lamar be the primary focus. It can't be both.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And
do you have one more overreaction before we get into predictions?
Not an overreaction. Actually, yeah, I'll make it an overreaction. I don't think Russell Wilson will touch the field for the Steelers until maybe halfway through the season, at the way we're looking at the way they're playing right now. That sounds a little crazy, because you look at Justin Fields' numbers and his passer rating is really high, but no volume. He has not done anything. But I think what people fail to understand right now in this, or especially for the Steelers, is Mike Tomlin. This is all he needed from Justin Fields. Is he just needed him to clean up the mistakes, and that's what Justin Fields is doing right now. He's playing good, clean football, and I think he gives you more upside athletically than Russell Wilson does. It's 2 wins for the Steelers. You can't really argue against it until he starts losing or playing bad. So I see Justin Fields as the starter in Pittsburgh for the foreseeable future, even if Russ is healthy.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like the Steelers are doing what the Steelers have done, especially the past 8 years. And Justin Fields, credit to him. He's cleaning up on a lot of those mistakes, and as a result in Baltimore being able to play the brand of football. Not Baltimore. It results in Pittsburgh being able to play the type of football they want to play.
Yeah, and it's just defense, run the clock, time of possession. That's how we're going to win games, and Mike Tomlin loves it. That's all he needed from Justin Fields was to clean up the turnovers, and now that he has, I think another 9-win season is in Pittsburgh's
in their future.
Yeah,
for sure.
But
all right,
yeah. So I was gonna say with the week 2 overreactions in the books, let's get into week 3 predictions, and let's kick it off with the Thursday night football game on Amazon Prime. It's the New England Patriots at the New York Jets. Jets coming off a win last week. How you feeling, E?
Like I said, it's not too impressive what the Jets did. I think they needed that bounce back, though, that confidence, especially with Rodgers getting more and more reps with the team. The Jets are going to beat the Patriots. The Patriots aren't very good.
Ooh, see, I think I'm going to go with you too. I'll go with the Jets, but I think it'll be sneaky because the Patriots are sneaky good. Or at least they have been the first 2 weeks. They've got a really good run game. In the secondary, defensively, they've got guys to match up with Garrett Wilson. And I'm still worried about the Jets receiver core.
Christian Gonzalez is a legit. He's a legit nice shutdown corner. Legit nice. Shutdown corner. I like, not to piggyback, but we are in a golden age of NFL cornerbacks that I don't think we've ever seen before. It is so good, the quality of NFL corners that we have in this league, that you can make a legit case that there's like 20 NFL corners that should be in the top 10. That's how good they are. And Christian Gonzalez is in that group.
Yeah, he's making a name for himself, man. He's playing really well. He played really well last year before he got hurt. And yeah, I just want to see him put it together for throughout the season. But what we've seen from him the first 2 weeks are really encouraging. I think he'll match up really well against the Jets receivers because, it's, again, like I was saying, outside of Garrett Wilson, I really think the Jets have some weapons issues. Breece Hall's nice, but I'm just
I like the way they've been using Braylon Allen.
I like Braylon Allen too. I want to see like how his workload changes throughout the season. Took him in fantasy just in case.
That's why I was thinking about trading him with you this week.
Oh, hey, well, you're not taking him. Hey, I know why I have him on my roster, man. Because if that Breece Hall injury happens, even if it doesn't, Braylon was getting carries in week 2, so I might hold on to him. But okay, we got our next game starting with the Sunday kickoff, starting with the noon window. The Houston Texans are traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Both of these teams 2-0. How you feeling, E?
I think it's going to be a really, really good game. The Vikings have been probably one of the surprises of the season so far, especially the way that Sam Darnold's been playing. And Brian Flores has that defense balling. Brock Purdy talked about it. You saw him when they went after the game towards the middle of the field. He told them that defense had me stressed the whole game. The whole game. I think it's gonna be a really, really good game. I'm gonna go with the Texans. I think the Texans are looking like one of the biggest contenders to compete with the Kansas City Chiefs this season, especially in the AFC. But I'm gonna go with the Texans.
Yeah, I'm with you too. Not too much variation here. I hate the Vikings, but can recognize they have been playing good football. This is the crazy thing about football is if I told you before the season started, E, that in going into week 3, the 3 best quarterbacks in the NFL would be Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, and Derek Carr, you would tell me I'm on drugs.
Absolutely. The finest of ganja. The finest. That booger sugar.
But hey, that's where we're at. That's the reality of the league we're in. And it's just a lot of fun. And hopefully Justin Jefferson is good to play for the Vikings to make this game the competitive matchup we know it can be. But yeah, give me the Texans. But we'll move on to the next game. We've got Packers-Titans. Packers traveling to Nashville.
I'm gonna go with the Titans. Will Levis is stinky, very, very stinky.
So you're taking them though?
No. Going with them. My apologies. I'm going with the Packers. I think the Packers are gonna get lucky with this lucky ass schedule, like they always do. But Will Levis already
hating,
with
man?
two. Will Levis already 2 meme of the year candidates in week 2, week 3. Week 1 and week 2. I think week 3 we might be in for another one. And honestly, I think the Packers are going to do more of the same like what they did with Indy. This is a very good Tennessee defense, though. So I think it's going to pose more troubles for Malik Willis and Josh Jacobs and the boys. But I think this is a significantly worse offense with Will Levis than what the Colts have. So I'm going to go with the Packers.
See, I think we're talking about a game of two sides because, as I mentioned earlier, Jordan Love did practice today as we record this Wednesday for the Packers. I personally, if I were making the decision, I wouldn't have him play. I think the Titans they're not good enough to warrant playing him and risking him getting hurt more. Malik Willis showed enough for me last week that I feel comfortable putting him in the game. I will say, I agree with you that the Tennessee defense is very nice. They're nowhere near as squishy as Indianapolis was. And I think that could give us some problems. So I'm kind of cheating here. If it's Jordan Love, give me the Packers. If it's Malik Willis, give me the Titans. I can't do that, though. I feel like that's cheating. So, you know what? Give me the Packers, man. Gotta take my guys.
The next 12 o'clock game that we're going to have is the Giants versus the Browns. I think this is a pretty quick one, at least for me. I'm going to lean towards the Browns. I think the Browns are going to get the dub. The Giants offense is not good, not one bit. Malik Neighbors is very good, though, and he's been pretty excited to watch. But I feel like they got away with one last week. They beat Washington, right?
No, they lost.
They lost their own.
They lost.
They
became the first, or the Giants became the first team in history to score a touchdown and not allow the opposing team to score a touchdown and still lose the game.
Sounds like them. But I'm gonna go with the Browns. I think Deshaun Watson had a better week this past week. The Giants aren't very good. Again, I still believe in this Browns defense. I'm gonna go to Browns.
Yeah, not too much on there. I agree with pretty much everything you said. Yeah, give me the Browns here.
All right, and then another 12 o'clock game. I think is probably going to be our game of the week. We got Eagles versus Saints. Saints look fantastic against the Cowboys. We talked about that already a little bit. The Eagles, not so much. It's hard to make of the Eagles. I think that similar to the Cowboys, the Eagles are the same team I think we saw last year. Saquon Barkley, admittedly, has been a really good pickup for them. But when you look at some of the deficiencies, I think Sirianni has as a coach. The back end of the Eagles defense, especially that secondary, is still really, really bad. I think their linebackers are still really, really bad. I just think that Kubiak and Derek Carr and them boys are rolling. And seeing what they did to Dallas earlier this week, I think they're going to repeat more of the same against Philly.
Man, this is going to be a good game. All of me is leaning towards the Saints, just because they're playing in New Orleans. The dome gets loud. Saints are on a run. But just because you are just the Eagles hater, and I do have faith in the Eagles. I think they're a really good team. And if it weren't for the Saquon drop on third down last week, we'd be having a different conversation about this team. They'd be 2-0. I think they'll bounce back and get a win in New Orleans in a tough fought victory. So give me the Eagles.
Bet down that Jalen Hurts sword if you want to.
Oh, I will.
All right, another 12 o'clock game. We got Broncos versus Bucks. I'm gonna roll with the Bucks. They've been playing pretty good. That Broncos defense, especially Patrick Surtain, got shredded last week, and I think Mike Evans, Baker Mayfield are gonna do a pretty good job. They're healthy. Chris Godwin's there too. I'm gonna go with the Bucks over the Broncos.
Yeah, I think the Broncos still need to figure some things out on offense before I can feel confident in them. The Buccaneers have looked good on both sides of the ball, Baker got beat up last week and still found a way to win that game. So, yeah, give me Tampa.
Betsky. All right, the next game we got one of the final 12 o'clock games. We got Bears versus Colts. Pardon me?
I think there's 2 more.
Yeah, one of the final. Yeah. We got Bears versus Colts. I think the Colts. I'm gonna ride with the Colts. I think the Colts are gonna get the first regular season win of the year. After kind of stinking the bet up against the Packers last week without Jordan Love. I think the Bears they've really, really struggled, especially Caleb Williams in that offense. Caleb Williams is going through a lot of pressure. It seems as if he's starting to realize that kind of whole magic stuff that he does, escape in the pocket and throwing the ball cross body that he was doing in college at USC is not really working out, as he got picked off 2 times against the Texans. Probably should have been a third. And the receivers, they just haven't really meshed well. Roma Dunze hasn't really played that well. I know Keenan Allen really hasn't played too much because of his injury. DJ Moore hasn't been the best. I like the Colts. I like the way that Alec Pierce has provided himself as another weapon for Anthony Richardson. I still think the defense needs to get better at defending the run. But with the Bears, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, I think this one's going to come down to which quarterback makes the least mistakes, which young quarterback can play clean, smart football, because I think both of these defenses are, I think around the same tier. But, yeah, give me the Colts. I think I feel a little bit better about them going into this game just because the Bears' offense, to be fair, Houston's defense is legit. And Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson were on they were on his ass all night. Caleb Williams had no idea what to do with the football. I don't know if the Colts are going to get after him as much like that. So, fuck it. Give me the Bears, actually. I hate to do that, but give me the Bears.
Bet. And the final 12 o'clock game, we got the...
I hate to do that.
Chargers versus the Steelers. Honestly, it's going to be I think that one's going to be a pretty interesting game to watch. 2 really, really good defenses, as it seems. The Chargers have been doing a really, really good job running the football behind Joe Alt and that offensive line. Joe Alt is catching bodies, especially from pass rushers. He legit looks like one of the best tackles in the league 3 games into his career.
And they still have Rashawn Slater, too.
They still have Rashawn Slater on the left. What's his name has been doing really, really good. J.K. Dobbins, he's staying healthy. I think Harbaugh is kind of building the culture in Los Angeles really, really fast.
Let me ask you something then, Ethan, because I know you've been very critical of a quarterback in L.A. by the name of Justin Herbert. How do you think he's looked the first 2 weeks? Obviously, he's in a completely different offense, so his workload is different. But how do you think he's looked in these last 2 weeks? And do you think that he gives the Chargers the edge over the Steelers? Because I think that's where I'm leaning.
I think in this game between him, I think he's going to be able to make plays that Justin Fields can't make. And although I do think the Steelers do have a better defense than the Chargers do, I think Justin Herbert is that good. And I think they're taking a lot of things off his plate, especially with the running game with J.K. Dobbins. I think Harbaugh is making it a point that with Dobbins, with whoever back there, we are going to run the ball and we're going to play extremely physical. And Herbert, we're not going to ask you to do crazy things. We are going to ask you to play smart, but we're not going to ask you to carry us on your back like you did in seasons previous.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the right approach to take with a guy like Justin Herbert. Let the run game and defense help him out. Interested to see what the coaching is going to be in that game, because Harbaugh versus Tomlin, 2 great coaches, should be really fun. But all right, let's get into the 3 o'clock games. Starting with the first one. This was kind of a stinker, in my opinion. Panthers-Raiders.
Panthers-Raiders. I'm going with the Raiders. The Panthers, like I said, I think the worst team in football right now. Bryce Young is out. I don't think Andy Dalton's going to be that much better for them. I'm going to go with them.
Wow, okay. I'm going to go with the Panthers here just because I have a feeling that changing quarterbacks I don't know if there's like a stat on this, but I feel like changing quarterbacks gives the team the advantage for that week just because they have no idea what to game plan for. Andy Dalton is a completely different player. He can see over the line, unlike Bryce Young. So that's a start. But
relax on my short kings. Relax. Relax.
I'm sorry. I'm short too, man. But it's just the reality of the situation for Bryce Young. But yeah, give me the Panthers, man. I don't know what the logic is behind it besides just I think the Raiders are going to be kind of thrown off guard that Dalton is their guy this week.
Bet.
But okay, the next 3:00 game, we've got Dolphins, Seahawks. Which way are you leaning on this one?
I'm leaning Seahawks. I think Geno Smith has been playing so underrated and so well to start the season. And I really do think the Dolphins, they're going to struggle with the fact that they're probably not going to have Tua for a majority of the season. Do I think Tua is going to come back? Yes, I think he's going to come back.
They already put him on IR.
He should come. I don't think he should come back. I don't think Tua should come back to play for the Dolphins. I think he should retire. But I still don't really trust Skylar Thompson, even though they do have really, really good weapons all around him. I'm going to go with Seattle. I think the defense is starting to be the defense I thought we were going to see last year, and Geno Smith is balling.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm going to go Seattle. Prayers to Tua, man. Regardless of the situation, it's just sad to see a guy go down like that and have another concussion and have to start considering these things. I don't want to say anything just because I've had a lot of concussions too, and I don't think it's fair for me or anyone really to say for Tua if he should retire or not. It's his decision. But given the circumstances, and the person that Tua is, you really care about him and just want to see him and make sure that he's doing all right. But yeah, now that we got that out of the way, football-wise, Seahawks are playing great football. I don't think the Dolphins are going to be able to counter not having Tua. So, yeah, give me Geno and the Seahawks at home. Then this might be game. Oh, man, these next two games are actually like really exciting. Yeah. Let's go Ravens at Dallas.
I'm going to go with the Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to bounce back, especially with the way they played against the Raiders. I think the Cowboys defense is going to play a lot better. Again, this is not a Shanahan offense they're going to be going up against, so I think they'll be okay. The one thing I am worried about for the Cowboys, though, is CD kind of picked up a knock against the Saints, so I don't know how much he's going to play this game. But considering the Cowboys don't have any other weapons outside of him and Jake Ferguson's hurt, it's going to be really tough for Dak to make it work with the weapons he has around, especially with Jalen Brooks and Jalen Tolbert not playing the best. I am looking to see how good Flournoy, Cowboys is wide receiver 4 on the team, looks. Wide receiver 5. I think he deserves a look, especially how poor the other 2 receivers have been playing. That's something I'm going to beat my hands on the desk for as a former Cowboys fan to see that work. But I'm going to go with the Ravens.
All right. Yeah, give me the Ravens here too. I think this is must win for them. They're 0-2 going into playoff contender home field advantage for them. This is a big one for Lamar and the Ravens. And if they want to really get back into the swing of things and recover after those brutal 2 losses, they've got to win in Dallas. So, yeah, give me Baltimore. I think Harbaugh will have those guys ready to play. And then we've got 2 more 3:00 games. The Lions and the Cardinals. Lions traveling to Arizona for this one. I think this is actually this might be the game I'm most excited for.
No, this is going to be a really good game. I think the Cardinals have been one of the sneaky teams so far through these 2 weeks, especially the way they've been able to run the ball. And it seems like they've unlocked Marvin Harrison Jr. because he was balling. Kyler was balling. Yeah, he finished with 4 catches, 132, something like that.
Yeah. 2 touchdowns, right?
Mm-hmm.
One or
Yeah,
two.
they've been playing
Yeah.
amazing. They've been playing amazing.
You see that throw Kyler made where he threw it and then turned around before it was even caught?
Yeah, he said fucking Marvin down there somewhere.
Hey, it wasn't even Marvin, bro. he threw it up to one of his receivers and was just like, I'm gonna turn around. I know it's a complete touchdown. He's on his shit. Yeah, give me Kyler here. Kyler and the Cardinals. I like them. I think they showed a lot last week. And Kyler with the perfect passer rating. It's just really exciting to watch, man. I don't have anything else to say about the Cardinals because like Kyler is the Cardinals for me. Should say the Lions.
I'm gonna pick the
I think
Lions.
they'll get. You're gonna pick the Lions.
I'm gonna pick the Lions this week.
Hey, I'm not mad at it. I think they'll get back to running the ball, and the Lions are not a bad pick because I think they threw the ball like over 50 times last week with Jared Goff.
They just need to get that balance back that they had.
Yeah, I think so. All right. Final for the 3:00 window is Niners at Rams. Both of these teams going into it a little banged up. E, how you feeling?
I think the Niners are going to smoke the Rams. I think the Rams, Matt Stafford is doing the best with what he got without Puka, without Cooper Kupp. It's just not good enough. The rest of the supporting cast, and I think the Niners are going to be okay without Kittle and CMC and Debo. I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, it really will just be who's going to be better off with the injuries that they've suffered. And I think the Niners are in a better position roster-wise. I think everything they've got going. I wouldn't count the Rams out, but I am going to go with the Niners. All right. Then we'll finish up quickly with the last of the primetime games Sunday night. And then we've got 2 Monday night games actually this week. So Sunday night, we've got Chiefs at Falcons. How you feeling about this one, E?
I'm going to pick the Falcons as my upset of the week. I think they're going to beat the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs, especially late in the game against the Bengals kind of gave it to them. The same way I believe the Ravens kind of let them off the hook. I don't like too much how the offense has been playing for the Chiefs. Kelsey has not played well at all to start the season. They're going to miss Hollywood Brown for the rest of the season. Xavier Worthy didn't play that great last week. Pacheco's going to miss the next 5 weeks. Yeah, I'm going to pick the Falcons.
Yeah, I like the Falcons here too. It's crazy. We're both picking against the defending Super Bowl champs and Patrick Mahomes. But
I'm picking against my team. Tough.
Just like I did last week. But hey, maybe it'll work out in our favor, or I guess in your favor, and the Chiefs will win. But okay. Yeah, I just want to see what this Falcons offense. I'm picking the Falcons mostly just because I want to see them take that next step after their win last week. Kirk Cousins looked better. He still looks very limited in his movement, but looked a little bit more comfortable in this last week's game. So yeah, just hoping he can continue that in the home game on primetime, which he's changed the agenda. He's not. It's primetime Kirk, and he's prime time. He's good in primetime now, huh? Yeah. Interesting. But all right. Last 2, wrap them up. Monday Night Football. We got Jags at Bills.
I got Bills. I think the Jags are going to be sleeper pick. I think Doug Peterson is going to be the first NFL coach fired this season.
I could very easily see that being the case if the Jags lose here. I don't see them losing here. I think they need this one too. This is a must-win on Monday night. Give me Jacksonville. I feel really bad about taking that, but I just feel like Trevor Lawrence has to do something here. They have to win this game. Or, I mean, luckily the rest of the division besides the Texans is, they're kind of fizzling out. Chiefs, yeah, all 0-2 to start the season. So this wouldn't be a death sentence the same way it would be for the Ravens, I think, of starting 0-3. But it definitely would not be a good look for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I think you're right. If they do lose this game, Doug Peterson is on the hot seat. But, all right, let's wrap it up. Commanders Bengals on ABC, ESPN to finish off week 3.
I'm going to pick the Bengals. I think Washington stinks. Even though Jaden Daniels has been a bright spot, and Washington's 2-0. Not 2-0.
1-1.
1-1. Yeah, the Bengals, I think even without T. Higgins, I think they'll be okay. I think they'll beat Washington. The way they performed against the Chiefs, raising the level. Joe Burrow played really, really good. I'm gonna pick Bengals.
Yeah, give me the Bengals too. Washington has had some bright spots with Jaden Daniels. I think he's definitely been the most, I would say, the best rookie quarterback so far. I think he's played better than Caleb. Yeah. Give me the Bengals. I feel good about that.
Okay. Well, that's gonna be it for our week 2 overreactions and week 3 NFL predictions. Let us know in the comments down below which ones you guys agree with, which one do you guys think we're fucking tripping about. And while you're at it, subscribe and follow us on all our socials at AWR_podcast on Instagram and TikTok, as well as Twitter. On TikTok, we post a lot more frequently on the daily, so you'll be able to see a lot of clips and videos from past episodes there. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching.